Hello and welcome to whatever the heck this is going to be. I'm not sure how many videos this is going to take, but we were having conversations with my HEMA club about the lack of an actual walkthrough on Domenico Angelo's School of Fencing. So I wanted to my take on what his small sword would mean. I am not an instructor. I am by far not an expert, but I am a giant nerd who wants to go through the parts of this manual and really try to figure it out. If there are things that you disagree on, please put it in comments and I will try to do a revision if what you're saying is founded. If it's not, please feel free to argue in the comments. I'm not going to look at them beyond that. If it's something that's founded, I will. Just wanted to get that disclaimer. This is done out of my free time. This is not my job, so I'm going to devote that much time to answering all the comments. The first thing that Angelo talks about in School of Fencing is the blade itself and the small sword. So he talks about the blade shape. The blade shape, there are two kinds that you could have. All the ones that I have right now do have the hollow ground on the back with the triangular opposing side. So you could use a flat small sword, or you could have the hollow one. He kind of goes over the merits of both. Really, the merit in a flat small sword is if you're in battle, because it's something that's going to last a little bit longer. And you'll be able to parry off larger weapons. The hollow ground, though, is something that would be preferred if you were dueling, because it is going to be a little bit lighter and a little bit faster in the riposte, or just the thrust in general. So, size of small sword, right? Size of blade. So, I have three different options here. This is a 30-inch blade. It kind of goes between 30 and 33 is what you'll hear. In Angelo's book, he says that you don't want the overall length of your small sword to be more than 38 inches. This right here is 36 inches overall. So the blade itself actually ends about right here. I put all these, epee tips on these and then taped them off because obviously I want to be polite to my my sparring partners. This is a 30-inch musketeer blade. This is one of the older ones that Fiorelli put out. It does have bend, but just not a super big amount of bend. So you have to be polite when you're thrusting with something like this. This hilt is actually Jesse Belsky did this. I just put on this musketeer blade later. This one has been given to my girlfriend so that she can utilize that one. So this is the HF Armory AHF club hilt. It's more of an economy. It is one that you can beat up for a while. This one has a 32-inch musketeer blade on it. Overall, it is 38 and a half, I believe, right about 38 and a half inches with the musketeer, and this is a little bit longer grip on it. The pommel is kind of integrated into the grip, but this is a little bit heavier than that. That's around 425 grams. This one is around, I want to say 525 grams. Both fall within the range of how heavy you want a small sword to be, but this you can definitely tell heavier. The last one is this one that I kind of Frankenstein together. This was some parts from Zen Armory. It was their Graves court sword. Court swords being the precursor to and or interchangeable with small sword. I'll let the nerds argue about that in the comments. So I took this one, and it is a very heavy hilt. I actually did hollow out some of the pommel just because it was so heavy, because it was coming in at like 595 grams. I've got it down to about 560, I believe, or 555. I put an epee blade on this because it was coming in so heavy. This is a number 2 epee. Well, this was originally a number 5. It got cut down and rounded to a number 2 epee size, 32 inches. Hollow ground as well. Going to be a little bit lighter than these other two. My comment on musketeer blade versus epee blade is a musketeer blade. You can, quote, bully the other person's blade a little bit more. Your parries are going to be a little bit stiffer when you do that. But I don't really find issue with that. Say hello to my dog who wants to gruffly tell you his opinion of lighter blades. So that's the beginning of it, right? That is our sword itself. When we do talk about the sword and the parts, if you aren't familiar, let's go over some things here, right? Pommel nut. This is your knuckle bow, your padon, your quillion, your hilt itself, right? Your guard. Then you're going to have your sword. So everything from your hilt to about halfway would be your fort. Everything from halfway up to the tip of your foible. So strong or weak, you can use any of those interchangeably. And then your point. When it comes to balance on small sword, opinions may vary, right? A big one is that a lot of folks share is somewhere around 2 to 3 inches from the hilt is where you want your balance point to be. But I've talked with some of my coaches about this too. That balance point depends on how you want to play, right? You could have your balance point really far back because you've got a heavier hilt, right? This Frankenstein court sword that I made, the balance point is really close to the grip. But so it has a little bit more point control on it, right? I can make a really small circle disengages to then thrust. That does mean I have to account for that whenever I'm doing parries, right? I have to make sure my parries are more solid. With the point of balance being a little further forward, it just makes the sword feel different in my hand, right? I've had something with a balance that's more balance point that's more forward, and it just feels heavier. But then I pick this up, right? This is almost 100 grams heavier than this. It feels lighter in the hand until I've been using it for a full like 2 bouts, and then all of a sudden I'm tired because you don't notice it with that point of balance. That is all I'm going to get into on point of balance because that's not really what we're here for, right? We're here to talk about Angelo, but that's just the intro to things. I wanted to go over that, and then we'll start getting into the better parts.